We're going to move on to Ken Baker, co-regional managing principal, Gensler, the one of the world's largest architectural firm. Ken, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Glad to do it.
All right, my pleasure. All right, let me back up a little bit because this bio that I have on you is the like War and Peace. It's huge. Give us a
35 years of design work.
All right. To sum it up in two sentences, well, you've got more than that. I mean, you've worked with all kinds of companies. Give us a well-rounded feel for you, and then let's get into our talking points of what you're doing right now with innovations in the workspace.
Sure. Glad to do it. So first of all, I think the point to make is that I was educated as a building architect, a shell and core building architect, and kind of focused on high-rise office buildings in Chicago in the early 80s. I quickly found that those were long-term projects, and I wanted to affect a lot of clients during the course of my career, and those are long-term projects. So I actually effected a transfer into working on corporate commercial interior work. So I made the switch from the outside of the shell of the building to the inside. So which kind of I ended up at Gensler many years later and ran an office and then ran a couple regions for Gensler. But the focus of my work with Gensler is we like to think of our building work as outside in, and our interiors work as inside out. And to be a successful workplace, you've got to have those two aspects working together. Because it's, after all, it's all about the users of the building, the users of the space.
What Let's start to drill down in on that. Well, as far as the workplace performance index, let's
Yeah.
start there. Tell the audience how it works and how you're affecting it.
Sure. So first of all, Gensler has, our research programs are the largest and best funded of any firm, and the Workplace Performance Index, or we call it the WPI, is really an offshoot of that research that we did. And I just want to say that for years, designers have designed things. They've gotten their own professional pleasure out of it. They win awards. They have happy clients. They have clients pay their bills. And the clients hopefully are successful in the space. What we wanted to do is have an empirical connection between the great design work that we do and how that affects the bottom line of a workplace. So we developed a couple things. One was the Gensler Global Workplace Surveys, where we actually surveyed Fortune 500 companies, top performing companies in 3 different regions of the world, all kinds of sectors of clients, and we quantified all that information so we could pull it out and use it as benchmarking information for our clients. Then that led us to the development and research of something called the Workplace Performance Index, or the WPI. What the WPI is, it's a survey that we can do before we start working with a client, and we can talk to as many people. It's an online survey, and we can actually send it out with pre-ordained questions, pre-approved questions, and what we've done is taken that information and we ask people things like, what do you need to do your job? What gets you through the day? What do you need to successfully perform your tasks on a daily basis? We don't ask things like, do you like the color green? Do you want this wall black? It's more, what do I need to get the job done? All of that survey information is put together, and it goes into a Tableau program. And when we sit down and design, we use all of that information. That is on the dashboard of the designer. So every time we draw a line on a piece of paper to develop a design for a client, we are looking at this information. And the reason it's so important, we can take the results of that WPI or WPS, and we can compare that back to the surveys that I spoke of earlier, and we can compare those and benchmark those to the top performing companies in the world. So what that really does, what those surveys have proven, and if we use the information that we're getting right from the company, it's not about us designing what we think we need to design to, for the client, but it's actually looking, under the hood and designing what the client needs to make their business better. Because we believe at Gensler that good design affects the bottom line, and the workplace surveys that we've done and the WPIs feeding into that are really proving that good design affects the bottom line. Companies that invest in good design are making more money. Companies that invest in good design have higher employee retention. They are more successful. People want to come and work there. So it's not us just beating our breasts saying, yes, good design is fabulous, but good design is fabulous because it's really going to make your business more successful.
What is the Gensler Experience Index?
So I'm glad you asked that. That is like one of the latest things out of our research programs. And I'd like to say that the Gensler Experience Index, I would say, is quantifying the X factor of design. And basically, what to boil it down is it's another kind of program that's talking about great design is great for business, and great design equates to a great experience for users, for clients, etc. So, we believe that design has a quantifiable impact on experience, and if you look at how experience is gained through design, there's kind of a number of tenets that we have developed as part of that Gensler Experience Index. And number one is better design equates better experience, which I just said. The second one would be everyone is doing everything everywhere. So we've kind of tested that, all of these in retail, public space, and workplace. And, things like having fun, socializing, seeking inspiration, doing something exciting, taking time to unplug, taking a class. These are common experiences that are happening from retail to public space to workplace.
Ken?
A third kind of, go ahead.
Let's do this. Let's save that third one for the next segment. We need to take a break now, but I want to pick up right where we left off, all right?
Okay.
All right, Ken Baker, Co-Regional Managing Principal at Gensler.com. We'll be right back. Segment brought to you by Tycon Partners. You've been listening to CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Welcome back to CEO Money and Michael Yorba. All right, we're talking with Ken Baker, Co-Regional Managing Principal of Gensler.com. All right, Ken, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right, let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about the Gensler Experience, and you're about to go to point 3.
Yeah, I have 3 important key findings that I wanted to share. The third one is single-use spaces are becoming obsolete, and what that really means is that if a space was designed for a single use, that is a kind of a thing of the past. And what we're finding is people who do more than one activity in a place rate their experiences significantly higher and are more likely to report that space as their favorite place. So when we looked at retail, public space, and workplace spaces, we found that in retail, about 64% of the retail visitors are doing multiple activities while they're there. That successful spaces for retail support that. In public space, we found that 94% of public space visitors do multiple activities while they're there. And in workplace, there's a couple of key points. Something that I'm, specialize in is that 98% of the employees report doing non-work activities at work. So what that says, is driving to a point of not only is work happening everywhere, everything is happening at work. And nearly 49 out of 50 workers report doing non-work activities on a regular basis while in the office. So that's key finding number 3. So if we go to key finding number 4, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek statement, but when you ignore social space, you do so at your own peril. And really what we're saying is places that support community and social connection perform better, from higher job satisfaction in the workplace, and they'll have a greater likelihood of recommendation for retail stores and public spaces. So then our studies, again, going back to retail, public space, and workplace, we found that the majority of respondents in retail often shop with their family and friends. In public space, we found 85% of the respondents to our surveys often spend time with family and friends in public spaces. And then in workplace, we found that almost half of the U.S. workers socialize with colleagues outside of the office. And again, taking that workplace comment one step farther, public spaces that users report as ideal for social connection are ranked 1.3 times higher for overall experience. Going on kind of with a couple of more quick key findings, the in-between time between tasks is not wasted time. And so what we're saying, our survey is reporting back, is that people who take time to reflect and unplug between tasks have better experiences. With direct business benefits, employees are more satisfied. With retail, shoppers often end up making purchases despite not originally intending to do so. So in retail, if the space supports, if the experience supports in between time, in between shopping, those retail customers, over half of them had a better retail experience. Public space, over 70% had a greater experience. In a workplace, the same thing, about a little less than half had a great experience. Go ahead.
Give me some examples of what you mean on this in-between time, how people this transition and how architecture helps that transition.
So if we are designing a space, say it's a restaurant, and all that it's set up to do is sit down at a table and eat your food, and then come up and pay and leave, that's going to be a less successful space than a space that allows you to have a drink in a soft seating area, go to a table, experience the food, go maybe to another portion of that establishment, and have your dessert afterwards. And so I'm drawing kind of a broad analogy, but it's saying that spaces that kind of expand the user experience and give you kind of a break between those different activities are going to be more successful.
Okay, very, very enlightful. I didn't get near all the questions asked, but we're out of time. But Ken, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to kind of be able to talk about this. The experience index is something we're finding people are really zeroing in on right now.
I've found it very helpful for me right now. I did. I really got something out of it. Thank you.
Great.
All right, Ken Baker, Co-Regional Managing Principal at Gensler. That's GENSLER.com. This segment was brought to you by TheVitaminPatch.com.